Hey brother, welcome back to this Making of a Nice Guy series. In this video, I want to talk to you about domestic violence. I want to talk to you about how that affects our stories that we tell ourselves, how it contributes to us coming up with rules about how we're going to live our life when we're grown-ups. I want to talk to you about how those self-limiting beliefs can keep us trapped, can keep us cycling through and getting the same results over and over again and not really being happy with our life. So I'm going to tell you the story of my childhood, and then I'm going to invite you to tell me yours. So when I was a child, my mother and father fought a lot. There was a lot of alcoholism, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of 2 a.m. mornings. And one event in particular, my mother and stepfather had gotten into a fight, and they were in the back room, in the back bedroom, in the back part of the trailer that we lived in this little trailer park down below the hill next to the creek. And my mother was a woman who would go toe-to-toe with a man. She did not back down. She did not hide. She didn't shrink. And that's not to say that she deserves anything she got, but it's just to say that these two people were very headstrong. They fought a lot. And there was one time in particular where my mother and my father were fighting, and my stepfather punched her in the eye. Now, I don't condone that, I don't agree with it, but that's what happened. He punched her in the eye so hard that at one point we thought that she was going to lose the eye. It turned purple and gross and veiny, and it was distressing. And in that time, she actually reached for a handgun that was in the house, and she pointed at him, and she made him stop. And she was so mad, so hurt, that she actually fired a round. She discharged the weapon inside the house. And it was unsettling to be sure, as an understatement, right? That's something that you don't expect to happen in your home. And that was something that was, quite honestly, not uncommon in my home. And my stepfather and my mother would fight all the time, and they would argue and yell at each other and scream at each other and at the top of their voices. And so as a child, I would be there listening to all of that, and I would think to myself, if one of you would just shut up, if one of you would stop, this whole thing would end. And I remember the day, I remember being about 8 or 9 years old, that I told myself, I said, you know what? When I grow up, I'm going to do it better. I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to be the one who shuts up. If that's what's required, I'm going to be the one who shuts up. I'm going to be the one who ends the argument. And that's the story that I told myself. That was the operating instruction. Those were the set of rules that I created for myself. It was a promise that I made to myself. And in that moment, I set in motion my nice guy. My not really saying what I wanted, my avoiding confrontation and fights at all costs, my keeping the peace at all costs. And what I learned along the way as part of this in my adult life and in my marriage was that eventually I found that keeping the peace at any price was too high of a price to pay. That I was actually eroding myself, my sense of self, my self-trust, my self-respect, my self-confidence, my self-reliance, my self-esteem. I was eroding my sense of self by deferring, by handing over my power to someone else, by not standing up to myself, by not saying what it was that I wanted, by not being able to face something head on and be able to have open, honest, unapologetic, transparent conversations with my wife. And so that eroded my relationship with my wife. It made me feel trapped. It made me feel powerless. It made me feel resentful. And I did that all to myself. There was a time when I projected that onto her and I made her responsible for those things. And I felt like she was doing it to me, but I had agreed to it and I had come up with a story and I was the one doing it to myself. And so this is what I want to discuss with you. Have you experienced something like this where you've come up with a set of operating instructions, a set of rules for yourself about how things are supposed to go, who you're supposed to be, what you can and can't do, in order to survive, in order to get your needs met, in order to be safe, to be okay? Is this something that you have done to you? And is this something that you want to continue to experience, something you want to continue to live? Because I guarantee you, if you're watching this video, good chances are that you don't. And so I want to have a conversation with you about that. I want to walk and talk with you, and I want to hear your story. I want to hear the assigned meaning that you've given yourself, the rules that you've come up with, and the things that you say that you can and can't be in order to survive, to be safe, to be okay in your life. And so I want to be able to listen. I want to be able to ask clarification questions so that you can get clear for yourself about what it is that you believe and what it is that you're telling yourself. And I also want to be able to share my insights, my personal journey, and the insights of other men with you. I want to be able to point to resources and walk and talk with you for a little while and come up with a game plan of how you can experience something different. This is all possible with a phone call. You and I will talk with each other for 1 hour. There's a link in the description where you can choose a day and time that works best for you to schedule that call. We can talk by phone, it's private, and you can share your story with me, and we can work that out together. So that's what I want to invite you in today. I want to share that story with you. If you haven't watched all the other videos in the Making of a Nice Guy series, I highly encourage you to. They are all my experiences in childhood, but they also help correlate how those experiences contribute to the making of a nice guy. Until we talk, brother, be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.